Hello everybody, this is a small demonstration of how to use the Misu utility. Misu stands for the Medical Image Segmentation utility. It has a three sub utilities. The first sub utilities is for the clustering sub utility, which is the main form which is in front of you. In addition to the file exporter sub utility, which is, we will discuss it later on. And finally we have the segmentation sub utility, which will be right there, also will be discussed later on. So in this video we started to see the basic use of the clustering utility. Now we can load Misu file, which is this one. Now this utility can work in the diffusion tensor imaging, MR imaging, CT scan, FLIR, any type of images can be applicable. So you can get the scan, convert them to the Misu file which looks like this, and using the file exporter. This is something I will demonstrate later on. So now once we start to open this file, now we can see the magnitude of the MRI magnitude, and just a couple of seconds. The file is a little bit Misu is a little bit 140 megabytes, so it's a little bit takes some time for loading and do some kind of a intermediate processing, which takes some time for loading until now. So after loading, now we have three options: either the original magnitude or the universal and stable, which is the unistable images, which is giving you more high contrast, or unistable 3D, which is giving you also high contrast compared to the original magnitude image. You can find the unistable and unistable 3D details in those publications. You find them in the about here. You find the first two publications. This is talk about the details of unistable and unistable 3D. Now, once you open the file here, you can now go to the clustering options. Now we can use the thresholding, simple thresholding, or use the histogram quantization, k-means, fuzzy c-means, expectation maximization, or accredited conditional mode, which is the ISIM. Now histogram quantization takes a little bit short time. This is why I'm using it now. So now you simply have this is the magnitude, and now you can just want to get a quantization, histogram quantization with the three clusters. So you can simply click on that button, and this will give you a warning, because you know k-means and fuzzy c-means and other options take some time for the processing, so you have to be patient. Now this is histogram quantization is done. Where is the clustered result? You can just switch between clustered and between original. So you can simply here, if you want to increase the number of clusters, and apply this again, so you find the number more gray levels appear here in the clustered image. So let's go back for the this is the thing. Now if we want to see the title of the image, which is histogram quantization 5, so this means that the image in front of you applied the quantization, histogram quantization is the clustering algorithm with a number of clusters 5. Okay, now you have multiple options for exporting the clustered image. We have the image, saving image 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, exporting binary, and histogram. Histogram, first of all, if you look at the counting of each of the pixels belongs to which layer. So this is number 4, for example. This is the top layer, which is the lightest color, which is the white here. Okay, and after that we have a little bit light gray, which is the second number. Okay, which is give you the light grays, and so on. By that you have the flexibility to add or drop something in the segmentation file, which will be indicated later on, to see which one is suitable for your use. Now for exporting the files, now if you go to the original has only ability to export the images. So how to export the images? You can simply just export the image. You find here inside the output folder, and this folder will be automatically created once you load the file, which is the Brain 01 MRI and Misu, and inside it you find it blank. So once I click on the save image, and you go to this folder, you find the image, which is the original slice, which is right here. Okay, if I just click again in 2x2, you find the formatted 2x2 images, which is with equal distribution for the brain slices. Number of brain slices as indicated here are 50. If you just go to the scroll up okay, to go to the last slice. So this is up to 49. So 0 49, which is the 50 slices. Now let's back to the middle slice, which is this one. Now we can go for save 3x3 or even save 4x4 images. Again, if you go to this folder, you find the 3x3 right here, really formatted. This is now the 4x4 are also formatted ready for be inserted directly for your research or publication. So now here, this is for the original. Now about the clustered, we have more options. In addition to the saving of the images with the similar way, you see this is now saving 4x4, which is the clustered image. You can simply find it just right here. Okay, and here is the version which is the clustered. This is the one, and here the original. Okay, so you can as simple as that. In addition to that, we have export the histogram. You can export it the histogram, and you find it a CSV file, which is this one, ready for being loaded by Excel. You find here the details of this one. You find the total number of voxels in addition to the cluster at each voxel. So these are the five clusters, and this is the count. So this can be easily loaded to Excel, so you can do some kind of any statistics for the clustered image. Now if we go for the last one, which is the export binary, this is exporting binary, again exporting a binary file that is containing the clustering or the clusters inside the binary file. This one will be used later on for the generate of segmentation file. Now this is if you are using magnitude based images like MRI, like CT scan, like FLIR, like any type of those images. In addition to those, we have the DTI, diffusion tensor scan. We can just simply go for loading this one. Again, this is the Misu file for the DTI scan, and again how to generate it, we use it with a file exporter. Now we just load this file. Now the thing is not just a magnitude and the two unit tables. We have more details, more scalar indices. Okay, all those the details about those scalar indices, okay, exist in the publication that is I indicated in the about. I included the 4 publications, and again just a few seconds. Now we have plenty of scalar indices that allow you to see the brain from different perspectives. Okay, so this is the one, and this is the MD again. Okay, but now now this is the units table, and this is the units table anisotropy. Yes, okay, this is something like a FA, similar like the units table anisotropy, and this is the mean diffusivity, and this is the units table diffusivity, which is both of them give you a high contrast, okay, than the original images. So now if we just go to the MD, okay, which is the regular thing that is used in the field, okay, and again we can just apply the histogram quantization, and here we go. Yes, okay, and this is the clusters image, this is the cluster. Now and if you go to the output folder, this is the output folder. As you can see, this folder is automatically has been generated automatically, which is the name of the file that I just loaded. But inside it now you find plenty of subfolders, because we have plenty of scalar indices. So this is to make everything neat and ordered. Okay, so this is why I just make these things generated automatically. Now if you go to the MD, now it's blank again. Now you can just export the save image to the 2x2 and 3x3, and you can, in addition to that, you can export the binary file. Now we can export the binary file for this one. Now you find this folder filled with all the things that you exported. Now the second thing, so this actually what you see here is the CSF non-CSF clusters, and if we go to the FA, and again we use the clustering with a histogram quantization, you find now the image will be produced here for the white matter, non-white matter clusters. Those are plenty of now if we just reduce the number, and this will make things a little bit more clear for the white matter, non-white matter clusters, as you can see right here. Okay, now for this thing, so now this is we get that now we can export this to a binary. Again, if you go for the folder which is the MFA, and this is the FA folder, you find the binary file I just exported. Now to make a segmentation for the three things, white matter, gray matter, and CSF. Now we get a CSF, non-CSF, which is right here, and we have a white matter, non-white matter, which is right here. Now we need the gray matter, which is the rest of the tissues. How we can get the rest of the tissues? Simply go to the MD and go now to the thresholding, reduce this to 2 or 3 or something like that, any small number, and after that apply the clustering. So this cluster will give you just a whole the whole tissue itself. So first of all we select the white matter, after that we select the CSF. So after anything that is non-CSF and non-white matter will becomes considered as a gray matter. So this is the total bulk of the brain tissue. Now again we can export this to a binary. So now we have two binaries. Okay, if you go to the MD, you have two binaries, and FA we have three binaries. I prefer just now, because before we go to the segmentation, to copy this one and put it outside right here, for example, to make it easy to be reached. And with the MD, we have the MD with the two binary files. Okay, and we can just simply insert them just right here. So now we are ready for the second stage, which is the segmentation. Now go to the segmentation. Now we get the layer number 1, which is for the CSF, which is CSF and non-CSF. And now if we go to the output, here the binary files. Okay, so no, we go for the white matter, non-white matter. So we get it from the FA. So I consider this in the first stage. So now all the clusters that belongs to the FA will be displayed just right here. Now the second utility is the segmentation utility, and as you can see we load the three binary files in layer 1, which is the white matter, non-white matter, and in the second layer is the gray matter, is our CSF, non-CSF, and the rest of the layer 3, which is the the bulk, that is we generate which is the rest of the tissues, which will be supposed to be the gray matter. Now as again you can get the segmentation file for this thing, and again you can export them using a single image, 2x2 image, or exporting as a segmentation file. This segmentation file with the Misu file together can be used later on, inshallah, for the modeling the electrical activities of the heart, okay, excitation, propagation of the heart or the brain, and tumor growth of the brain. I will provide those utilities soon. Now finally we go to the file exporter utility, and now here we can compose either the DTI images or the CT scan or the scalar evaluated images like a CT scan or something like that. In addition, the DTI mask. Now here we go for the files that is I provided, and those files having in the input file we have the DT files. We have mainly the eigenvalues, those the three eigenvalues, and the first eigenvectors only can be used. Okay, it is necessary, and eigenvectors 2 and 3 is not necessary because the 3 of them are orthogonal. So mathematically we can get that get the two vectors from the first vector. In addition to the mask, how to generate the mask? Simply we go to the brain mask, which is those images, which is 2D images with manually edited. Okay, now if we go for the this one for the MRI, because show you the original images looks like this one. Okay, that is, you find here some more details which is supposed to not be included in. You see, this is the skull region. Okay, to find the segmentation utility that auto detect this skull and the eyes, something like that, will be not that easy. So the thing that is, some people prefer to remove it manually, some people can keep it as it is and just say, okay, we can just work with it. It's fine, it's up to you. You can simply export all those files using the first one, the clustering utility, and after that you can clean them and remove the unnecessary tissues manually like this, and get a very clear part of the brain. And this very clear part of the brain can be inserted here in the DTI. This is a brain mask, and this is can be generated. So now we can go to the mask folder, and we go for I put this in the GitHub and miss you all, and this is the input, and this is the print DTI, and select the print mask, and this is okay. And here we can you just click on export the mask. This will take some time until it will just produce the mask.dat file. Okay, and in addition to that, you can simply as well for the scale valued images, okay, you can also as well go for the GitHub, and this is miss you all input, and this is the MRI, this is the MRI, original MRI. Actually, print mask in both of them are the same. Okay, so now you can just simply go to the export the Misu file, and you can get the Misu file, which is supposed to be just right here in this one. Okay, so this is how we can generate the Misu file for the scale value images. Now we can just as well, we can just load this one or this one, and in addition to that, you can export the unistable files right here. Just clicking here, this will take a little some while, and export the unistable 3D. So if first of all you just load the mask and load this one. After that, click on the export the unistable, export unistable. After that, export the Misu file. So once you load the Misu file, you find all the options which is contain the magnitude from this folder and the unistable from those folders. Now for the tensor, you just do the same thing, but mainly for the tensor images we need the DTI. First of all, we get for the DTI we need the eigenvalues, the 3 eigenvalues. This is mandatory. Vectors and masks are optional, but it's recommended to add them. But here now we have to specify the dimensions, the x and y and number of slices. Here I provide a small text file that show you the dimensions for these images and the slices. This is actually get it from the scan. You get this the MRI scan or the DTI scan, okay, or the FLIR scan, and you can get these dimensions. Okay, and here we go. And now once you get here, and you get just put the slices right here. If you want to get a switch between float and double, but mainly we go for double, because how we generate the eigenvalues from the DTI scans, this is something called MRI Studio. I put everything in a help file, which is you can find it in the GitHub, and this will show you that is how we can how you can generate these eigenvalues. So now we can simply just go for the eigenvalues right here. This is the input, here the input, and DTI you find here eval 1, and here is the eval 2, and this is the eval 3. These are generated by the MRI Studio, and evec, and this is the evector 1, eigenvector 1. Now mask, again, if you want to get the mask, we already generate the mask from the previous stage here one, so we can just include the mask right here. Okay, now you can export the unistable files, the unistable 3D files. After that, they export the Misu files. By that, you will get the Misu files in both options, either this one or the other one. This is the one with the DTI, and this is the second one, which is the Misu for the MRI. As simple as that. Okay, now if you need definitely help, you just let me know. If you have any comment about this application, just let me know. So here we go. Thank you very much and have a nice time.